Kenyan High Court has suspended the country's football federation's annual general meeting that was set to be held on Saturday here in Nairobi. Among the items on the agenda was the setting and appointment of an electoral board to run the FA polls expected later this year. Our reporter Mohammed Abubakar brings us more.
Tens of delegates who had gathered in the Kenyan capital Nairobi for what was expected to be a stormy Football Kenya Federation's annual general meeting were forced to disperse and head home. This after a High Court's decision slammed the brakes on the gathering that was to discuss the Federation's roadmap to its elections later this year, among other key issues. A local sports journalist based in the US had petitioned the court to stop the AGM after questioning its legality and the capacity of the conveners, the current executive of FKF, to call for it.
I know a lot of are wondering, why are you stopping the annual general meeting that was going to discuss, among other things, the elections, which are long overdue? Now, this is the point. The question of who can act as an official of the Football Kenya Federation has been settled. It is not Nick Mwendwa, it cannot be any of the NEC members, and therefore the general meeting that has been convened by one Barry Otieno, who's an appointee of Nick Mwendwa, cannot stand the test of the law.
The development came as a simmering row between FKF's executive and member clubs bickered over who was eligible to attend the stalled AGM.
So they're all here.
The FKF Exco had earlier in the week released a press statement seeking to bar some of the people nominated by clubs to attend the meeting.
Any club that does not comply to those two articles should not constitute a crisis for the rest of us. That is the message as Kenyan Premier League clubs, and I stand here as a representation of the 18 Kenyan Premier League clubs, saying that if you do not want to conform with what is in the Constitution, then please leave us alone.
We are not here for anything else. We are here to protect the image and the future of the careers of the youngsters and the youths who are in football.
CGTN understands that officials from world governing body FIFA are in town and want to attend the AGM. And the injunction against the meeting comes only 15 months after FIFA lifted its international suspension on Kenya over what it termed as government interference in running the country's football. The country now anxiously waits to see what the world governing body will make of the latest development.
The looming crisis casts a big shadow over Kenyan football, with the men's national team participating in the 2025 AFCON and 2026 World Cup qualifiers. The country has also bid to host the 2024 Africa Nations Championship later this year, while preparations to co-host the 2027 AFCON finals already underway. Mohammed Abubakar for CGTN, Nairobi, Kenya.
Right, let's discuss this further. Still with us is David Kwalimwa. David, on the matter close to you, you've covered Kenyan football for a very long time. The High Court has, of course, stopped the anticipated Kenyan FA's AGM, which was set for earlier today. What impact is this likely to have on Kenyan football in the coming days now?
Thank you, Mahia. Suspense, confusion, the common denominators in the management of Kenyan football. Not quite surprising again that the courts will come in to strike off an annual general meeting that was eagerly anticipated. Remember, the meeting was set to discuss a number of things, including the election timelines and guidelines. So with the AGM struck off, it's not quite known when the next Football Kenya Federation elections, which were originally slated for October, will be held. So it's a wait-and-see situation. But again, how will that impact on the national teams? Remember, Kenya should be hosting the Africa Nations Championship, otherwise known as CHAN, in September alongside Uganda and Tanzania. With this quote-unquote confusion going on the local scene, how will that impact the preparations of the national team and the country as it prepares to host the continent?
Right, and finally, David, we're almost out of time here. Very quickly, do tell us, what do you think will be some of the major talking points ahead of those FKF elections this year?
Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa, the government has warned him in writing not to contest again. Remember, he's been president for the last 8 years, and a letter from the sports registrar says that he's ineligible to seek a third term in office. He's kept mum, but word has it he plans to contest again. That's one. Two, of course, the government, remember Kenya just coming in from a long FIFA ban that left the national teams in the cold for almost 1 year. So will the government again strike to try and bring order into the game? And if the government does strike, will FIFA again interpret that to mean government interference and ban Kenya again from international football?